It's the power of love that lives forever in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power, one power.
All right. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. As usual, everybody's on Unity time, which means, we kind of get here at 10:30 and then we kind of don't. Anyways, I could not be happier that you're here. So welcome. I was sitting there thinking about it as I was driving in this morning. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a runner. And so we do these crazy running things. And so last Sunday, I ran the Milwaukee Marathon, and it was awesome, but it was 80 degrees. And let me just tell you, when that happens, you have to go from, well, I think I would like to run it in a certain time, to I hope I don't die. Literally. You're just like, oh my God, what do I need to do? And I don't know, one of the reasons I love running so much is it's so metaphorical. It teaches me so much about life. It teaches me so much about how similar running is to life. And it's like one of these things where I'm sitting there looking at it and I think to myself, well, all right, I was hoping to run a particular time. And then I'm like, yeah, Mike, but it's going to be 80 degrees. So what are you going to do about that? So at that point in time, now I'm in a position of being able to respond versus react. And what I mean by that is it's kind of a bigger concept, but it's this idea of choice. Because what Unity believes, is that we have the ability to make decisions in the moment that might be a little bit different than maybe we've done in the past. And when you start this journey, the spiritual awakening, if you will, I want you to imagine that in the past when something would come up, the way that you would handle it is basically driven by the way that you used to handle it, no matter what the situation is. And for some of us, what that means is that basically you're standing there and all of a sudden something happens, and if you're not careful, what happens is you just react. And it's the way you've always reacted. What's really cool is when you start to do this work and you really start to tap into this part of you then all of a sudden what happens is something comes up, and instead of you immediately reacting, you go whoosh, and you stop. And you go, how can I react to this? Well, I know what I used to do, and that usually sucked. But what I can do instead is I can actually decide consciously how I want to handle the situation. And so what I was able to do is I was able to look at it and go, it's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow, Mike. What can you do about that? Nothing. There's nothing I can do about it being 80 degrees. What is that going to mean in terms of your run? Well, I need to be really careful, because if I'm not really careful, I could wind up like the handful of people that I saw literally getting hauled off in ambulances. That happened. Fortunately, nobody died. But you got to be careful. So then it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, it means a few things for me. And so I go through a list of things. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it just means be careful. All right, stop, slow down. Drink more, take more hydration, take stuff that you need to take in order to be able to cross the line. And so it was like, oh, okay, so I don't have to get bummed out and upset and mad at the fact that I'm not going to be able to hit a time. No. Like, you can go out and have the most amazing, wonderful run you've ever had in your entire life. And I'm like, that sounds like fun. So why don't we go do that? And so I go to the start line, and then we go. And we start going, and the first half was pleasant, and the rest of the run got warm. I'm not going to tell you about the last 4 miles. I might have swore once or twice, but not too many times, and nobody heard me, I promise. But I made it. I crossed the line, right? And yeah, thank you. But again, to me, I think the beautiful part about it is being able to stand in the space of choice. And this is one of many spiritual practices that Unity has taught me, is that I can basically just stop, be present, look at the situation, and decide how is it that I would like to be in this moment? How do I want to be, instead of not having any choice and having to just do what I always do, unconsciously, by the way. Because often what happens is we're living unconsciously, and so when we get triggered, we do this thing. And the truth is, from a psychological standpoint, we almost don't have a choice until you decide that you do have a choice. And I mean that literally. You literally can slow it down and say, hey, I can choose differently in this moment. And why can I do that? Well, because of who and what I am. Who am I? I'm a divine child of God. That's who I am. And by the way, so are you. And when you stand in your power like that, then it's like, oh, I have choices here. As Deepak Chopra says, I stand in the moment of infinite possibilities. And I get to decide how I choose to react or how I respond to this. And when you stand in that present moment and you realize that you're a conscious being and you can make those decisions, then all of a sudden, the universe, and I always say this, the universe is just standing there going like, hey, we're just waiting for you to let us know how we can support you. Because we believe that you are supported at the highest level. And so then all of a sudden you're standing there going like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go in this direction and I want to have a good time and it's going to be fun. And the universe is like, cool, he wants to have fun. Next thing you know, I'm talking to little kids, I'm slapping people high five, I'm doing all the things that you do when you run a marathon. And it was really cool. So anyways, Unity, I just think, taught me these things. And as many of you know, I've been doing this for a while, over 40, it's going on 46, 47 years now that I've been a part of Unity. And it's a process. And that's the biggest thing that I want to let everybody know, is that when you all of a sudden make a commitment and say, hey, I think I want to start changing my life, I want to start doing things, I want to start applying these principles that Mike keeps talking about, what I'm telling you is it is a process. And the process takes time. My hope and prayer, and I literally mean this from the bottom of my heart, is that if there's anything that I hoped to be able to share with you, in all the times that you come, whether you see me speaking here, whether you see me in a class or whatever it is, that instead of it taking you 45 or 50 years to figure it out. What would happen if we could shrink that down, maybe to 2 or 3 days? Would that be okay? 2 or 3 days, right? Did he just say 2 or 3 days? But I want to tell you something. I really honestly believe that what's happening now is we are given, and when I say we, I mean humans, human consciousness is really open to this idea of this change taking place quickly. It doesn't need to take as long as it used to take. Trust me, that is the truth because of the times that we're in, and people are opening up, and people are more open to this idea of who and what they are, who and what God is, who and what the relationship to each other is. How do we connect with nature? How do we do the things that we do here? So, anyways, having said that, I am really, 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 really glad of all the things that you could have done, of all the places you could have gone this morning, you decided to join us. And for me personally, you bless me. And I'm grateful for that. And I really hope you enjoy this morning as we come together. We've got a great morning planned. We've got some beautiful music. We've got a bunch of other things going on. So we're just really, really glad that you're here. So kick back, relax, enjoy. And just super glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's membership renewal time. We do not actually have forms in the lobby right now. However, there are 3 ways to renew your membership. We have online, in person, or all of these lovely packets we've gotten in the mail, you can bring in here and drop in the basket. And Jay is going to speak about.
Wow, this is a lot of people. So I've gone through Way of Mastery, I would say 1.5 to 2 years now, and there's a lot in this text. It's a deep dive into how to live as Christ consciousness in the world and what that actually entails. There's a lot of practical things to take away from it, and there's a lot to take in. So there's no pressure to join or to even follow it all the way through. Personally, I went through the first 28 lessons the first year, and I got what I needed out of it. So it's very much a flowing type of group, but we are starting that November 3rd, so please consider joining.
Thank you, Jay. Next, our pledge drive. I'm really excited about this. This is important because it's an estimate for how much money we're going to get for the upcoming year. This is how we prepare for the budget and how we can actually prepare for how we're going to support you as a community and know what our resources are. So this is important. And to kick this off, we have invited a series of members to come up and share their why they chose our community. And today we are blessed with Nancy sharing her why.
Hi. Can you make a difference? Do our gifts make a difference? Why is it necessary for each of us to make a difference? 15 years ago, I was a volunteer in an adult reading program for about 5 years. I worked with a 45-year-old man who was lacking confidence in every aspect of his life, including his ability to comprehend what he was to read. As the years went along, we talked about life, humor, friends, texting, whatever affected his life, along with the basic aspects of reading words, paragraphs, and books, and legal papers, and his texts. As his confidence in himself and his reading grew, so did his love of life. This past summer, he came to see me. I hardly recognized this happy, confident, vibrant man coming to me. As he spoke about all he has been able to accomplish in his life since our time together, He just glowed. It was so wonderful to have been a support in his making such a full and happy life for himself. How can your gifts of money, time, energy, experience help individuals in unity and in our community? For me, it was just going that next step out of my comfort zone to be real, to talk with another human being about what they needed. I have been at Unity for 6 months now. I felt at home as soon as I went to the open circle class with Laura and Tim. I felt welcome and safe. The following Sunday, I came to my first service at Unity. Yes, I knew that I would be accepted here when I was welcomed at the door, recognized as a guest by several people who talked to me in such a friendly way. I loved the positive message during the talk by Michael. The talk was uplifting and motivating. How could I become an active part of this bright light shining from Unity? I met Cheryl, a new person to Unity, and we almost immediately decided to start our Power of 8 group to help move the earth, nature, and humanity on their journey through third dimension consciousness to and through 5D consciousness. We are making a difference when we are sending out a positive message to others and to the universe. We do this at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time each day for those who want to participate daily or whenever they can fit it in. Several of us are committed to 7 days a week, so there will always be people sending out the intention for positive change. Perhaps this might be something you want to join. I love the small groups, where people of curiosity get together to learn more about themselves. I love the human connection of discussions about God and how God makes a difference in my life and in the life of others. So I started a class to talk about to the masters, teachers, and loved ones in the Akashic Records. The first major learning was that our minds were so busy and undirected that it was challenging to hear what the masters were telling us in answer to the question that we asked. This observation started a deeper dive into our own mind, how our own mind works, and what our responsibility is in directing it. Our goal became to learn how to listen to that small, still voice inside, while letting go of the constant chatter of the mind. We are continuing to work on this goal as we work with the Akashic Records to guide us to our best, clearest, most helpful guidance that we can use in our everyday life. This is so exciting to be a part of developing a deeper connection to God, to self, and to others. I was also inspired to begin a meditation group. I focus on my experience. I have found that my goal is listening to God 24/7. So in meditating, it doesn't work for me to silence my mind of everything. I have found I have a different view of that meditation. I direct my mind to let go of each thought and listen. I have learned that by listening to my God messages, it always works better than I could have ever imagined on my own. I live my life 100% through listening to God. So I live heaven on earth. It is a wonderful way to live. As we all focus on what we can give to ourselves, our friends, unity, we will be able to hear God clearly on what we can do on this path, this mission here on earth. Why? To reach your goal? What is your goal? Desire is the groundwork. Know your goal, know your destination. Be committed, be devoted, be persistent. You will achieve it. Growing grass in a section of my campground was my goal. Seeding, fertilizing, watering every day, adding straw, refertilizing, continue to water, continue to notice, and be aware of how the seed is germinating or not. Take action toward the goal. Then I reach the goal of grass. How does that relate to my walking my path with God? Attention, action, persistence, devotion, collaboration with Spirit. Lets me walk my talk in oneness with God, heaven on earth, peace. Commit to what your intuition is prompting you to take action on, then take action. My goal is to be one with God, with Spirit, with the light. Join me.
Thank you, Nancy. This Thursday night is our storytelling event. We have the speakers signed up, and we are excited and ready to tell stories and also some poems. So please come and join us for this exciting event. Also, Thursday night, we do not have a slide, but it's the third Thursday Reiki Circle, which will also be this Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30. So we have two awesome events Thursday night. You can come join us for either one. You can't go wrong. The silent auction. We are excited. This is November 8th, and we have a lot of really cool stuff that we're auctioning off. Plus, there is a free dance lesson that evening. I believe it's country. And so that's a wonderful time to come out, to mingle, to support the church, to check out all of the things that we are auctioning off, as well as meet other members and socialize and learn to dance. If you still need to pay for an upcoming event or class, or would like to offer a donation, this is the QR code. It will be out in the lobby as well as up on the screen. Appropriate touch. We want to just a friendly reminder that this is a very open church, and while a lot of us really enjoy hugging, and if we do, we have a green dot. There are dots that some of us choose to use that say whether we like personal touch or not. There are some of us that absolutely love hugs and being touched and don't mind a little peck here and there. And there are some of us that absolutely do not want to be touched, do not want to be kissed, and do not want to be hugged. And that is okay. So please make sure and be mindful that when we touch people, to make sure that it's okay. And if you do not want to be touched and you don't want to be hugged, please feel free and safe here to say no, and know that your boundaries will be honored and will be respected.
So real quick, I started a class, and the whole purpose of the class was we have people that come in here that they're just beginning in their journey, and they really come in here, they're comfortable. They know what they want to do. They know what they want to go play in, and it's really, really great. They can do that. But when you get into Unity, it's kind of, there's a lot of things that are moving around, and it's not easy always to grasp, hey, it looks like this. Maybe you do this. Maybe you do that. And so I had a thought a couple of years ago that sounded something like this, and I said, like, so what do I do with that? And so the thought that came up in my head is, what if, Mike, you were to just let people know what it is that you did? Not from the standpoint that there is one way, because my belief is there's not one way. There's your way, just like there's my way. And we all have a way. But this idea or thought is, what if we got together and discussed some certain things that Unity has, some things that I did, with the understanding is by the end of the class that you would actually have your own way, your own path of finding yourself back home. Like, how do you do that? What are the practices that you use? What are the things that you read? How do you meditate? How do you do affirmations and denials? All the different things. And we're just going to explore that. So there was a handful of souls that bravely showed up last Monday. And if you didn't make it, it's okay. You could still make it. So for the next few weeks on Monday night, starting at 6 o'clock here, I'm going to continue to go through that class and would love to have you. If you'd like to join us, just show up. You don't have to do anything, just show up, and we'll be here again Mondays at 6 a.m. for the next handful of weeks. 6 what did I say, 6 a.m.? I am up at 6, by the way. Actually, I'm up at 5, so I just don't think anybody would be here and join me. Maybe there would be. But anyways, if that's something that sounds of interest to you, there's no stress, there's no pressure, there's no nothing. It's just an exploration. It's you tuning into yourself and going, I wonder what there is for me to learn in terms of my own awakening and my own growth. So it'd be fun to have you. So please join us.
Thank you, Mike. And now, if everyone would join me to share our mission, vision, purpose, and values. Our vision, a world powerfully transformed through a shared awakening that acknowledges the divinity in all life.
Good morning. Good morning. Today's daily word is dream. My dreams are achievable, so I don't let the idea of improbable or impossible hold me back. I dream big. I dream the seemingly impossible, knowing that all things are possible with God. I align my mind and heart with the presence of God within, and trust the vision I hold is manifesting perfectly. As I dream, I journey through each step, following my heart and living my passion. I explore with curiosity and courage. I am confident and comfortable with the unknown, open to the unfolding good. Seeming obstacles do not hinder my progress. Even if my plans take a different direction, I discover unexpected blessings. My dream is mine to envision and shape. It is mine to live and enjoy. I live my dream with my whole heart. And from Scriptures, Numbers 12, I, the Lord, make myself known to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. And now would you join me in the affirmation? I dream of the highest and best. My life is full. And now, as we begin our time of prayer, let's take a moment to quiet our minds, to relax our bodies. Breathe love into your heart. Let a calmness come over your body. We recognize the divine. God is. In the stillness, we feel divine strength. Signs of strength are all around us. We embrace them, and we are fortified by them. We are divine strength. We realize that with the power of this divine strength, that we can be courageous and take healthy risks to advocate for ourselves and for others. And we realize that with the power of tenacity, we can keep going forward with our dreams in spite of the roadblocks that life throws at us. We appreciate the times that divine strength has helped, and we stand up for what we know is right. We are grateful, and we say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. Help us sing these two joy songs. Pretty lively this morning. If you know the words, even if you don't, the message is still the same. When I lose my way and I forget my name, remind me who I am. In the mirror, all I see is who I don't want to be. Remind me who I am. In the loneliest places, I can't remember what grace is. Tell me once again who I am to you, who I am. when my heart is like a stone and I'm running far from home, remind me who I am. When I can't receive your love, afraid I'll never be enough, remind me who I am. If I'm your beloved, can't you help me believe it? Tell me once again who I am to you, who I am to you. Oh, tell me lest I forget who I am to you, that I belong to you. I'm the one you love. I'm the one you love, and that will be enough. I'm the one you love. Tell me once again who I am to you, who I am to you. Oh, tell me lest I forget who I am to you, that I belong to you. Tell me once again who I am to you, who I am to you. Oh, tell me lest I forget who I am to you, that I belong to you. Here's a lively one. This is written for the Unity Church by Karen Drucker. Sing it out. My religion is kindness, my hustle to nature. My God is feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious, my path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Everyone has a story, everyone has pain. When stripped away the mask, we find that we're really all the same. All those little things we say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile, it's a connection, it's a simple loving touch. My religion is kindness, my church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives inside. My job is to be conscious, my path is forgiveness. My religion is conscious, and I practice it every day. Tonight I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do to be a radiant child of God and let my love shine through? I'm gonna let my heart be my guide, give the best of me. I'm gonna share my joy, share my love, and give it boundlessly. My religion is kindness, my church is nature. God is a feeling that lives inside. My job is to be conscious, my path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Jack and Jill went up the hill, they fetched a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jim came tumbling after. Said, Chuck, can you tell me what I have to do to ease my mind? He said, hold my hand, just be kind, I know I'll be fine. My religion is kindness, my church is nature. God is a feeling that lives inside. My job is to be conscious, my path's forgiveness. My Thank you.
I want to sit back and listen to more of that. What do you think? What do you think, Mark? You got something else up your sleeve? You never know. You never know. Well, as many of you know, and some of you don't if you're newer, every single year what I do is I pick a theme, and I go a little bit deeper into the theme. And so this year, the theme was actually called Manifestation Mastery. And so what we've been doing over the last couple of, since January, is we've been going deeper. So the people that were interested and wanted to go a little bit deeper into this idea of manifestation, which is a big thing with Unity because we believe that you are a powerful creator and our thoughts create our reality, and there's something you can do about changing your reality with your thoughts. Ultimately, that's at the base of one of the tenets of Unity. And so in that process, we come up with this thought or idea of that, yes, we are manifesting machines. And now the only question is, well, are you doing it consciously or not? And for myself personally, what I realized is earlier in my life that I did a lot of manifesting, but I was doing it unconsciously, which means that all the programs that were put in my head, not by me, by somebody else, my parents, my religion, my government, my society, all the different things that were programmed into my mind, and as a result of it, before I started waking up and become conscious, I was creating this life that was based off of all that programming. And I don't know about you, but that programming wasn't exactly positive. In fact, it was hard because I was taught that I was a sinner. I was taught that I was basically if I didn't follow the 10 rules, I was taught that that my voice didn't matter. I was taught a lot of things by a lot of different people, and it wasn't me. It was somebody else. And so this idea of creating our lives consciously, when I found Unity, was like, oh, this is an eye-opener. And by the way, I just wanted to let everybody know that for the first couple of minutes, I'm going to go through the stuff that we talked about the first couple of times. It's going to go fairly quick. Take a deep breath. We're going to get through it. I promise you. The other thing I wanted to say is I know some of you like to take a picture of some of the slides that I do. There's going to be a couple up here that you might want to take a picture of. I'm just letting you know that, okay? So anyways, are you doing it consciously or not? How many people who actually live their lives consciously prefer to do it more so than the way that you used to do it? Show of hands. Yeah, good. Thank God. Yes, living your life consciously is pretty cool, and you can do it. Really, you can do it. So, one of the 5 principles of Unity is we are co-creators with God, creating our reality through our thoughts held in our mind. And that's what we believe. That's what the Fillmores believe. And if you really do a deep dive into metaphysics, you would find out that even Jesus taught the same lessons. He really, really, really did. And so did some of the other masters as well. So we talked about this idea of creating our own reality, and then we talked about, cool, what are the tools that we can use to do that? And so we spent some time talking about those, and we came back up for just a half a second, and we talked about this idea about powerful creation, which is where we take substance and then it's added directive power. And for all of you that were here, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who won't, you're like, what is he talking about? So real quickly, substance, when we talk about substance, what is it? It's basically the spiritual essence out of which all things are made. I loved it when I was going through the ministerial program. Somebody said this and it just stuck with me. Substance equals spiritual Play-Doh. I love that. I love that. It's invisible, but it's always there. It's limitless. It can be formed for anything and meet any need. It can manifest in many ways. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with spiritual substance, but it's always there. Wow, that's kind of cool. Well, then tell me about what is this directive power, because I don't exactly understand it. So Fillmore says, life in and of itself is not itself intelligent. It requires directive power of any entity that knows where and how to apply its force in order to get the best results. So I just want you to imagine for a half a second that we've got this stuff called spiritual substance. It's there, but it really can't do anything unless it's directed. How is it directed? By you, by me. That's how it's directed, through our thoughts and our emotions and our words and our actions. That's how we use directive power. Our thoughts, our emotions, our words, our actions. So when I take this combination of spiritual substance that's just there, waiting for us to use, and then I apply directive power to it through our thoughts, our emotions, our words, and our actions, and all of a sudden, guess what we get? Creation. That's how it works, right? So, we talked about that, but then we came up with this idea. It's like, hey, what about, like, how though? How does it really work? And so we came up with this idea, this manifestation blueprint, and we went back to Myrtle. Myrtle Fillmore, for those of you that don't know, she's where it all started, and she started the process of healing herself, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But her blueprint we talked about, and again, I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. And by the way, you can always go back and watch the videos where I spent 2 whole weeks talking about this stuff. But to make a long story short, we put them all together because in one instant, she did something that was pretty profound, and it created this entire movement called unity. And so she came up with this blueprint, and we talked about it. What was her blueprint? Well, she started off by making a decision. Nothing happens without us making a decision or setting an intention. She made a decision. She had tuberculosis. She had 6 months to live. And she said, wait a minute, I can sit here and die, or maybe there's a better plan. I think I'm going to go with the better plan. Then what did she do? She quit being a victim. Up until that point in time, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Victim, 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 victim. Right? She accepted who she truly was. She finally realized that she was a child of God. She then believed that everything she needed was inside of her, so she started going deep and doing some deep meditation and deep study of truth principles. She believed she could change. So in other words, she let go of the thought that, well, I guess if this thing is going to happen, then I guess I'm going to die. And she said, wait a minute, that doesn't necessarily need to be the case. And she quit believing the lies that she'd been telling herself, that society had been telling herself, that everybody else had been saying about her. She said, stop. We're not doing that anymore. She understood her beliefs were creating a reality, and she began changing them. Oh, wow, she did that. She shifted her awareness. She did a mental and emotional inventory. She created new thoughts and ideas to replace the old ones. And then she continued to change her inner world until her outer world changed. She did what? Hold on. Slow down for just a second. She changed her inner world. What is your inner world? What is that? It's all the beliefs that are sitting there running in the back of your head. And I'm just going to tell you this, that 95% of those are unconscious, which means what? You're not aware of them. Wait a minute, let me get this right. This thing called my unconscious mind or my subconscious mind is running my reality, and 95% of what I believe, I don't even know I believe it? Yes. Until you decide to do something about it. And then all of a sudden you can start to change things. So that's what the blueprint. That's how she did it, right? So then we spent some time talking about, well, that's great when you start to apply these principles and things start showing up, but then what happens when they don't show up? Because I don't know about you, but anybody that starts practicing this stuff, you'll see some things show up, it's fairly easy, but then all of a sudden you hit some roadblocks or things don't show up and you're sitting there going, why? I don't understand. Why is this not happening? I'm applying all the principles that I've been taught. Why are they not showing up? Has anybody tried to apply truth principles and some things not show up in your life? Anybody that didn't put your hand up, you're lying. Let's practice truth principles. Let me just say that, okay? All right, so we hit roadblocks, and we talked about that. And because when we apply truth principles using substance and directive power, like I just mentioned, there should be something that unity calls a demonstration. Demonstration is proving of a truth principle in one's body or one's affairs. That's what it is. So in other words, let me get this right. You're going to have the audacity, Mike, to sit there and tell me that if I actually practice truth principles, start applying these truth principles in my life, that I'm going to see stuff starting to show up. And my answer to you would be, well, of course it's going to, because if that wasn't the case, why bother? Why bother? And so when I'm practicing these truth principles, I'm just telling you, it's like I'm telling God, I'm telling the universe, I'm telling everybody, you're damn right I expect this stuff to show up. And I'm going to temper that just a little bit, but tell you that I honestly do release the results. So I don't get hung up on, like, well, it's got to look like that. I used to do that. But I do have an expectation. I do have an expectation when I start to work on things and start to manifest things. But ultimately, I put it into the hands of the God, and what do? I say this or something better. And the other thing that I say is for the best and highest good of all concerned. And that way, I'm not sitting in my ego and sitting there saying, it has to show up this way. Again, I used to do that. And guess what would happen when it didn't show up that way? How do you think I felt?
This doesn't work. Why can't I get this stuff to work? Boom, 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 boom.
Right? Because that's what we do. Right. So, I started to ask, well, what happens? Why doesn't the stuff show up? It seems to be an error in their outworking. If there seems to be, it's because a misapplication on the part of the demonstrator. So in other words, do you think it's a problem with the truth principles? Wrong. Do you think it's a problem with God? Nope. It's something that I'm doing that's off. That's where it lands. And so when you look at that, then ultimately that begs the question, okay, well, where? What is it what's going on? And then we answered the question by saying stumbling blocks and obstacles that seem to be in the outer are primarily in the mind as thoughts and feelings. So what does that mean? It means that when you start practicing these truth principles and something isn't showing up, there's probably that's something going on in here, or a combination of both. Something is out of alignment with what's going on, what you're trying to manifest. And that's what's causing the delay. That's what's causing the problem, right? And so that brings us into the final lesson. I hope that wasn't too quick. Was that okay? Were we good with that? Perfect, good. I always want to check in. So that brings us into the final lesson, which is this, and that's living as a conscious creator. So in other words, what happens is, I just want you to hear this, that what happens is when you start to study metaphysically and all of a sudden you start to learn these different principles and you start applying them into your life, it's like, okay, cool, but what does that really look like on a day-to-day basis? And how do I become a conscious creator and make that a part of my life? Because what we're really doing is we're really starting to go and look at this understanding that, yeah, you are a spiritual being and that there's stuff that you can do with that information and you can start living as a conscious creator. And it's just like what all the masters have taught us in the past. And that's what it's about. So you actually start living as a conscious creator. And it sounds cool, but I want to know how you do that. Like, what does it look like to actually do that? And of course, I'm always going to go back to Myrtle. And, again, the story, she had 6 months to live, okay? And now she actually is going to, instead of like I was talking about earlier, where there's no choice. She's told she got 6 months to live, so she just starts walking towards her deathbed. Woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Right? She didn't. She stopped and she said, whoa, wait a minute. There's got to be something better than this. There has to be something better than this. What can I do about that? And so, remember, like I said, up until that moment, she had been an unconscious victim. And that's where a lot of people spend their life. They're an unconscious victim. They don't think they have any choice. They don't think there's anything that they can do about their life, the circumstances in their life, what's going on in their life, and so they stay as an unconscious victim. So she was an unconscious victim, right? But then all of a sudden, she decided to do something about it. So what did she do? Well, to be honest, if you were given 6 months to live, I don't know, I would probably do the same thing. She started looking for alternative answers other than that. She started looking for it. So she goes to, as the saying goes, she went and saw a speaker, New Thought, E.B. Weeks, and all of a sudden she came from that lecture and she proclaims the famous line, you've heard me say this a million times, I'm a child of God and therefore I do not inherit sickness. So in that one moment, it started with a decision or an intention. So just know that. For anybody that's sitting in the room or anybody that's watching this online, if you got something going on in your life you're not too fond of, it starts with a decision. And it can sound like whatever it needs to sound like for you, but it sounds something like this. Enough is enough. I'm going to do something about this. I can do something about this. I can change this. It starts with a decision or setting an intention, right? So in that moment, I just want you to understand, and this can happen for you any single time you give yourself permission to do this, is that she went from being an unconscious victim to a conscious creator. I cannot tell you how important that moment is in Myrtle's life or anybody else's life, including my own. When all of a sudden you decide, hey, wait a minute, I can do something about this. I can change this. And there's things that I can do to be able to start to change my reality. And I can start doing it right now. She became a conscious creator. She took her power back fully. She stepped into her divinity. She finally accepted the fact that who and what she was, a beautiful child of God. She realized that God was actually in partnership with her and loved her and cared about her. And then all of a sudden she was like, hey, wait a minute. No. I got to let go of my past. Enough of this crap. I got to let go of this thing. And so she started to use her own directive powers, again, her thoughts, her emotions, and her words, and she started to change her reality, right? And so where did it start? With a decision, right? Or she started to do what I'm going to call a belief inventory. Well, what's a belief inventory, Mike? Well, again, I just told you what? That your beliefs are what run your world. They're what's creating your reality. So if that's the case, then wouldn't it kind of make sense to spend a little bit of time figuring out what you believe? And yet my question to you is, how many of us actually do that? Really? How many of us sit down and actually look at what it is that we believe? And I would argue that most don't. And my challenge to you, should you accept it, is to consider doing it. Because it can be really, really, really helpful to help you understand why certain things are showing up in your life. And when I say beliefs, there's all kinds of beliefs. There's beliefs about God. There's beliefs about you. There's beliefs about life. There's beliefs about money. There's beliefs about relationships. There's beliefs about your health. You have all kinds of beliefs. What would happen if at one point in time of your life you sat down and went, hey, do I even like these beliefs? Because more than likely, there's a high probability they're not even yours. What? It's true. They're often not yours. And so what would happen if you just sat down at one point in time and just said, I'm going to start doing an inventory. I'm going to start looking at my beliefs. And by the way, we're doing that in my class, is we're having people start looking at their beliefs and figure it out. And so imagine you're sitting at this big table and you set on the big table all your beliefs and you look at them. And then you go, which ones do I like? Which ones don't I like? Which ones do I want to keep? Which ones don't I want to keep? And then you start consciously change it, and that's exactly what Myrtle did. She took her old beliefs, and while I don't know every single one of them, my guess is they sounded something like this. I have this illness, and I'm going to die. Illness runs in my family, therefore it runs in me. I will always have a fragile body that is prone to sickness, and therefore I will always be sick. So she lived her life. She had been sick and frail her entire life. Why? Because when she was a child, she got a sickness, and her parents told her, you're probably going to be like this your entire life. Get used to it. Suck it up, buttercup. That's what she was told, right? There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sure there were more. But that would be my guess as in terms of what it is that was really going through her head for most of her life until all of a sudden she woke up and she started doing something about it. This illness is real and more powerful than anything. I think this is one of the most incredible statements about our beliefs, is that we actually believe that certain things have more power than even God. Let that one set in for just a minute. So she had this belief, right? She had these beliefs, right? So as the results of her beliefs and thoughts, how do you think she felt emotionally? What do you think? Do you think she was walking around happy? Oh, this is awesome. This is great. Hey, I'm dying in 6 months, man. It's amazing. Or do you think it was more like, woe is me. I guess I'm just going to die. I guess there's nothing I can do about that. And you could imagine emotionally how uncomfortable that was for her, right? What do you think she was telling her friends and family? Pretty much the same thing, right? What do you think she was acting like? So in other words, the reason I'm asking you these questions is I'm just imagining what her directive power was like prior to her waking up. Her thoughts, her feelings, her words, her actions were probably not exactly in alignment with ultimately what they became. So in other words, she had to change them, right? Because think about that. Do you think her directive power was going towards what she really wanted or what she didn't want? What she didn't want. I'm going to say that again because I think each of us can learn a lesson here. When you got something that's going on that you're not too happy about, I'm just going to really challenge you to say, where's your power going? Is it going towards what you want more, or is it going towards what you do want more? And there's no judgment in that. There's no shame, blame, guilt, or judgment in that. I'm just being honest, I'm being sincere, because what I have found in my own life is when I'm struggling, often where my power is going is where? Right here, which is what I don't want. And so what happened is her thoughts, her beliefs, everything were out of alignment with what she wanted and with truth principles. And so in the book, How to Let God Help You, she says it's true followers of Jesus find that they must continuously, and I'm going to talk about that next week, but they must continuously discipline their thinking and emotions and bring them into alignment with the truth. Oh, so you mean I got to come up with different thoughts and I got to feel differently about this thing that's happening in front of me in order for me to change my reality? Yes. 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 Because those thoughts and those are emotions, I talked about this when I did this talk, we are vibrational beings. And if our thoughts and our emotions are creating energy, and I just want you to imagine the energy, I don't have a choice, there's nothing I can change, woe is me, I got a weak body. Just energetically, how does that feel? Versus I'm a child of God, I can change anything I want to change and focus on, I can make a difference, I can change my life, I can change my health, I can live. Can you feel that energetically, what's happening? You're changing your vibration. We are energetic beings. That's who you are. And a beautiful child of God, of course, right? So what did she do? She started to do her inner work. And I think often, so often, in unity, that's what people don't really grasp. We have work to do. Inner work. What is the inner work? The inner work, if you want to, and you don't have to do any of this stuff if you don't want to, it only matters for those people that actually want to change their life and they want to do something differently. There's the inner work. What is the inner work? It's finding out where your beliefs are, where your emotions are. Are they in alignment with where you want to go? That is the inner work. That's it. So, the inner work of changing her thoughts, emotions, words, and actions, and that's what she started doing. And so what she said was some new attitudes will be necessary. The old customs and beliefs will have to be changed and given up. A new side of you will have to be shown. Oh, wait, let me get this right, Mike. I'm going to have to change? Yes. And I would say start with the inside. Start with your inner world. Start doing your inner work. That's where this happens. That's where this work starts from, is the inner work. So yeah, you're going to be different. Spoiler alert. Things are going to start to change for you, right? And then she started talking about the things that changed. I became very watchful as to what I thought and what I said. What are the two? What's directive power? Your thoughts and your emotions. So she became very watchful of what she thought and what she said. I did not let any worried or anxious thoughts enter into my mind. She's really starting to pay attention to her thoughts, really starting to clean them up. really not letting those things happen, really being careful with those. And then she stopped speaking gossipy, frivolous, petulant, I love that word, petulant, angry words. What was she talking about? Her word. She started becoming very careful with what she was saying and what she was talking about. You ever notice somebody that's having a real hard time? You ever notice that's all they want to talk about is how much of a hard time that they're having? Yeah, and look at guilty as charged. I'm human. I've been there, done that. I get it. But I'm just saying, some people, like, you can't get away from it. Like, every single time you talk to them, all they're going to do is try and suck you into their hellhole. Excuse my language. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's true. Right? And God bless them. Again, I really observe mostly when that happens, right? And then she says what? Instead of cursing my body, this is where the action comes in. So now she starts to change her action. Instead of cursing my body, I started to bless it and encourage it with the true thoughts and words. I would use all diligence and wisdom in telling it just what I wanted it to do. So she started changing her action, and that's how she did it. That's how she did it, right? She started to bring everything into alignment with what she wanted and with truth principles. And so what did that look like? Well, first of all, she did that. She stopped that, and then what did she do? She came up with some new thoughts. Again, I don't know what all the thoughts were that she changed, but I would guess here's some of them. I don't have to die, I can live. God is the only power in my life, and that power is good. So in other words, she wasn't putting illness more powerful than God. Ooh, well, that's a pretty juicy one, right? I'm a child of God. I don't inherit sickness. I can change my reality by changing my thoughts, right? So here's the question. She came up with these new thoughts. She came up with these new ideas. She came up with this new plan, if you will. Do you think she just did it one time? No, because what did she have to start working on that she didn't have before this? It's called spiritual discipline. Spiritual discipline is a real thing. It's real. It's like any other discipline. Question for you. Do you think when I ran that marathon last Sunday that I had never run a mile before I went and showed up at that line? Everybody's laughing. It's no different, folks. If you want to start living a spiritual life, there's things that you should probably think and seriously consider starting to do. It's called spiritual discipline. Myrtle started to work on her spiritual discipline. How long did it take her for this stuff to finally stick? Anybody know? 2 years it took her. Now, in my opinion, I think we have some updated technology where we can do things a little bit quicker than 2 years. And anytime you want to have that conversation with me, let's have it, because there are some really cool things that are out there these days in terms of changing your thoughts and changing your beliefs. But ultimately, that's what she did. For her, it took her 2 years to not only change her mind and change her beliefs and change her emotions, but then also develop this thing called spiritual discipline. And then all of a sudden, things started to change for her. And she said, I don't become discouraged at their being slow to wake up. In other words, she saw her body still struggling, but she didn't pay attention to it. Why? Because she was doing the inner work and she wasn't worried about the outer work. And that's one of the things you need to do when you start changing, is you got to just let the outside go for a half a minute and start to do the inner work. But I kept right on, both silently and aloud, declaring the words of truth until the organs responded. And then guess what? Her organs responded, and she was healed. And she lived to be well into her 80s, closer to 90, before she finally passed. Right? So, Myrtle became and started to live as a conscious creator. We all have the ability to do that. Why? Because of who and what you are, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful child of God. And with that comes a lot of power. We just forgot. But when you start this journey back to yourself, back into your heart, back into your own power, then all of a sudden you get to play with it. And it can be a lot of fun. And so what I'd like to do is I would like to take just a few minutes and do just a little meditation, kind of tie this whole thing in for today. And so if you can, just begin the process of just becoming still. Close your eyes or just use a soft, gentle gaze. And as you can hear the music, just start to go to that place. That place in your heart. I don't know, sometimes it's helpful for me just to put my hand on my heart. It connects me. And so you take a deep breath in and you let it out. And then you take another deep breath in and let it out. And just allow yourself to settle into the sacred moment. As you feel your body relax, you feel your mind starting to quiet. And I just want you to imagine your heart starts to open. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine drawing in this invisible substance that I talked about. That living essence out of which all things are made. Pull it in. Just imagine it being out there, but now welcome it into your presence. And just remember that it's limitless, it's formless, but it's always there. And as you exhale, I want you to release any thoughts that says anything about you being separate from God, anything that says anything about you being limited or lacking. And now I'm going to invite you into just bringing your awareness to your thoughts. And just notice what you've been telling yourself about what's possible. And again, do it without judgment or shame or blame or guilt. Let all that go. We don't need any of that anymore. We can do things without those things. And just let those thoughts rise and dissolve into the light. Just let them go. And in the sacred silence, I just want you to affirm, I am the directive power through which spirit takes form. Say that silently. I am the directive power through which spirit takes form. And feel that. And feel your mind aligning with divine intelligence. Feel your emotions just softening into harmony. And I just want you to imagine that moving forward, that your thoughts, your emotions, and your words and actions are all guided by love. Because love is who you are. And now I want you to imagine your life as this radiant field of creation. And you get to create whatever you want. There are no limitations in this field. In this field, you're one with God. You are one with substance. And so see the invisible substance responding to the vibration of your consciousness. And just imagine these things that you want, these things that you desire, start to show up. Whatever they are. And just know that every thought of love, every thought of gratitude and possibility molds the spiritual Play-Doh into form. And as you sit in the silence, just say silently to yourself, I am a conscious creator, shaping my world from within. I am a conscious creator, shaping my world from within. And let a wave of gratitude rise from your heart. Gratitude for the power that lives within you. Gratitude for the truth that nothing is missing. You have everything that you need within you. And gratitude for the knowing that God is in you, the source and substance of all things. And now what I want you to do is I just want you to let go of this. And in your mind, just say, I surrender to this, God. I leave this in your hands. May it be for the highest and best of all concern. And then just take one last deep breath in. And just anchor that truth into every cell of your body. And then slowly begin the process of coming back into the room, back into your body. And when you're ready, you can join us in singing. Hallelujah. We'll get to that in just a minute, Jim. How did we do? You good? Yeah, good. I really hope and pray that that this was helpful. Ultimately, I'm always hoping and praying that whenever we do a talk, that there's something that you can take away from this that might be able to make your life just a little bit better, make your day a little bit better, a little bit happier, a little bit stronger. Some thoughts and prayers. And I always want to leave you just with a blessing, and that is you are truly doing an amazing job. I know sometimes you may not always feel like that, but let me just tell you that sometimes this life isn't the easiest thing to be doing. And to show up and carry the light that you're carrying, and I don't care if you're here for the first time or you've been here for 100 times, like, we need you. You matter. You really do. We need each other more than ever because of what's going on today. And my belief, though, is that we are on track for bigger and brighter things. And if we're willing to do our own work, then all of a sudden we can actually be the ones that get to hold people and to support them as they go through their own transition. And to me, there's no greater service than to be able to help our brothers and sisters as they're going through what they're going through. And we can just hold them and be with them so that they can hold the next, and they can hold the next, and they can hold the next, and they can hold the next. So thank you again for coming and joining us this morning. Thank you for being who and what you are. Just know that you're a blessing in all your friends and families' lives, and we have been blessed by you being here this morning. We are tremendously, tremendously, tremendously grateful. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for who and what you are. Thank you for shining that light. We are grateful. We are lucky. We are blessed. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Namaste. Namaste. God bless. Thank you. All right, now we can do the love offering prayer. So, hey, this place doesn't exist without your gifts. And we are just so incredibly blessed for all your tithes, all your talents, all your treasures, all the things that you give. We are so incredibly grateful and thankful for them. So with that in mind, whether you do it online, whether you do it and put it in the basket, however you give, just know that we're grateful. So I just want you to imagine taking those blessings, putting them in your hand, even if you visualize them. And together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
In every soul, some brightly burning, some dark and cold. There is a spirit who brings a fire, ignites a candle, and makes his home. So carry your candle. Run to the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn. Hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle, go light your world. Take your candle, go light your world. Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn. Carry your candle, take your candle, go light your world. Carry your candle, go light your world.
So if you can join me in just pausing for a moment and just saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for these gifts. We are truly blessed and grateful for them. May they come into our heart. May they go bless the world, bless our communities, and bless each other. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. And now if we can all stand and say the prayer for protection together. And together we say, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now if we can form a circle and sing the peace song.